Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Monday. It's November the 18th. This will be our chart lesson for today. And just a couple words before we get started. I just wanted to say thanks to everybody for all the emails, the comments, uh, everybody just really poured out their hearts, and I appreciate it with the recent loss in our family. My sister-in-law. It's been pretty tough on my wife and her family, of course. You could understand that. And so I just really appreciate everybody reaching out, all the sympathy notes and the kind words that everybody sent. So if you were one of those people, I appreciate you, and appreciate your prayers and your thoughts. And it's been a big help, I promise. So, but I'm back. It's still a little awkward, I guess, at my house. Probably will be for a couple of weeks. So I may be, coming in a little later, or leaving a little early, and so forth. So I'll probably do a video every day this week, but they may be some coming in at some strange times, and they may be shortened or whatever. But it'll probably take us another week or two to get back on, regular schedule. But like I said, I'll be coming in and trading. I've got to earn a living, so I'll be coming in and trading. Just may not be my regular hours, but I'll do a video each day as well, and we'll try to get back on track full steam in the next week or two. But there, like I said, there'll still be a video each day, so you'll have something to look at. I may be slow with the emails, and if so, I apologize, but I'll try to answer them. Um, unless if you got something critical, send it to me. If it can wait, just hang on to it for a few days so that I can get caught up and kind of get back on schedule. But like I said, don't hesitate to send me an email if you've got some questions. But if it's nothing critical and can wait, just hang on to it. But we made another new high today in the market. Exciting times. And then, of course, it sold off pretty stoutly. And that's what usually happens. You make a new high in a market, and there are people waiting to sell it. And that's kind of what happened here. And we sold off pretty briskly in the afternoon. We'll talk about that when we get to it. But let's start. It really looked like a range day to begin with. It started off, really strongly, but it faded real quickly. And then it really looked like a range day. And I originally had this right in there, and you can see it just kind of moved down. And this one kind of moved down with it as the day went on. But these were really the highs from last Friday that we caught across here. And if you were looking, once you kind of realized it was a range day, you can see I think these are pretty much equal distance between here. There's one. Oops. And there's your other one. You can see it's an equal distance move there from where we broke out from. You want to look for that target first, but you also have to consider, and you can see we didn't even come close to this. There's leg one, and you have to consider that we may be going for leg two. But when we didn't get that, that's not a good sign. And, usually you're going to sell off. It took a while, but we finally did sell off in the afternoon. And if you were still trading then, that's some really nice moves there. But we'll talk about those in a minute. Let's talk about the first trade I saw today was right in here. You should have had this trend line probably right off the highs across there, and you can kind of see that trend line working up through there. And if you drag it down, you can see it's right there. Just kind of a copy of the upper trend line. And you drag it down to the lows, and you see we bounced right off of that. This one was a little iffy because we just made a new high, but this is kind of like a second entry that you went up, you pulled back, and if you went to a smaller chart, you'd see a little pullback. So it's kind of a second entry if you entered there, and it took on off. But notice how we're not getting back to the other side. And then we kind of get a little break here, and then we barely got above there, and then we made one more push, and it barely went above, and it turned down. You don't want to go short there. You really need to wait on a second entry, which didn't come till down here. So I drew all this in the lavender color because you didn't want to go long right there out of all that congestion. It's just, by the time you finally got a trigger, unless you went long right here and used the limit order, you didn't want to enter this trade. You might have considered using a limit order because that's not a very good signal bar, and that's definitely not a very good signal bar either. So if you waited on a break above that one, and you wouldn't have got filled if you waited on a break above that one. So the only way I would say you could enter here was if you entered on a break above this bar and then dropped a limit order in here. Let me see. I'm not even sure if you entered with a stop there, 98.75. You see, it would have been a 4-tick failure. You might have got filled. I doubt it because it came off of there fairly quickly. So the only way you could really enter here was with a limit order, and you could have got filled a couple of ticks back into here, maybe even 3 ticks back. I can't remember if it came on down another tick or not. But that would be the only way you'd consider entering there. And you definitely want, after just barely breaking higher there, you definitely don't want to go long right there. This is telling you something. The fact that this is starting to wane here and not getting back and it's breaking out. And all we did was we really had a close outside the line here and then 2 legs up to a new high. But I don't think you can go short right there either because, again, there's too much congestion right there, all those overlapping bars. There's a new article in the premium section for you members to go look at if you want to look at, be sure to read that on congestion. It'll help you with that maybe. But you don't want to be going short right there. You got to wait on the second entry. And when this thing shot straight, notice how there's no rejection at the EMA. Look how it shot straight through. Then 2 legs back to the EMA. You don't want to be going long there because you got a little channel working down. We did get a break. But on this second entry short here, it's not a pretty setup bar. So you might have waited on a limit order. If you did, you probably didn't catch this trade. And you should have been thinking, hey, measured leg, here's your first leg, and then thinking, hey, we'll probably get them measured. Why does this keep doing that? I'm in this. Okay, I had to stay in draw. And you see we really overshot a measured leg there. There's your first leg, and then your second leg. We actually got an extra tick out of that. So that's a good chance that you're going to bounce there. But wait on that second entry, which came here. Notice you got the new low. Notice that congestion. Again, if you read there on congestion, that's generally a sign that the selling is running out. The sellers are running out, but the buyers haven't really come back in yet. And but you had your break, you had a leg down, and when this one failed and turned up, I liked going long there. And then you got your little channel here. So again, if you draw that right off the high, 2 highs, you would have known to find that. And I would have been ready to go long here, but notice it never triggered. And then by the time it did trigger, you got all those bars stacked up there. So that's congestion. And you probably want to wait on a trap first, which came right here. Then you've got a failed second entry short and a trap. And so now you can go long there. And if you went long right there, you were still okay because your stop should have been below. If you went long right here, let me get this out of the way. If you did happen to go long right here, it's a little risky after all those bars stacked up. But let's say you did go long here. Your stop has to go below this bar, and you still would have survived that. So you would have been okay. But by waiting on the second entry, and then plus the failed second entry short, this was the right place to enter. And you may have even thought, hey, we just got too much congestion, but you're looking for a retest. I think that one was worth taking, especially when it was bouncing off these lows across here, that was right there earlier. You can see that, and that's where we were finding support coming back down. And so I like that long right there, easy scalp, and then we find resistance up there. But now you've got your break of this little channel, a new high, a failed second entry long right there that turns into a second entry short. It's a little aggressive because the highs had been higher, but you can move that down, and as you see that, and that's a nice bearish reversal bar. It's kind of, I'm hesitant to go short out of that stuff because you really have another, let me show you this right here. You've really got a little trading range, right? A little congestion area. We'll just leave that one like it is. And you can see that. And so I was a little hesitant right here, but if you didn't really know that this channel was good yet because you didn't have a whole lot of price action. It looked more like a little trading range up there. But again, you know, if you go read, this is where you would expect congestion is telling you that it's finding a lot of selling right here, and the buyers aren't continuing on. And when that turned and turned down, you could have considered going short right there. Um, you might have tried to use a limit order, and you see it did come back, and it would have filled it here, and you would have got a chance to go short right there. And that's a failed second entry long after you got your first break. You never really had your new low yet, so you're looking for a new low, which came right here, and then we reversed, and you're heading higher, but you got to break really quick right here. No reason to go long yet here. You might have considered going long above that bar right there, and it would have worked if you did, but I think there's too much overlap right there. Uh, Not enough evidence that, you know, this move down is over yet, because we could have come down here and tested this, or even all the way down here. Um, but if you went long right there, great trade. I think it's a little too risky. I didn't like it. Thought it was worth talking about though. And then you got your second entry right here, but this is your trend line, and we're probably headed to here, and you're probably going to get another leg. So this is your second entry coming off that low. Because this was a doji when this broke higher, this is one I would have used a limit order. I think you would have got filled even with a stop. 97. Yeah, you can see you got just enough to get your scalp, and then it sells off. And by that time, this had moved down to right here. You can see those last closes. I like to use those closes. It's important to know they're there. And you can see that's where we found resistance. We broke one tick higher and turned down. I think it was a little aggressive. It's a second entry short. It's kind of like, it's pretty close to two measured legs. Let's just check it, see how close it is. I can eyeball it and tell you it's real close, if not exact. And it's basically a perfect measured move, I believe. Yep, perfect measured move. And then it turns and sells off, and there's plenty of room. You figure it's coming to here at least, but man, look at that thing. It just shoots on and keeps going. It pulls back. You got a second entry short right there. I meant to circle that one too. That's your failed second entry long, and it just keeps on going. And you should have been thinking by that time, another measured leg. I would call that your first leg. Man, I'm having troubles on my mouse. Then there's your second leg, and you actually got a few more ticks there. And that was pretty much all it was for today. So it was a really nice trading day. I wasn't here much of the day, just traded just a little, but I easily made my target today. You know, this is really kind of flat in here, and you know, if you don't see these little channels, you really got to stay away from these. You know, I was really trading these moves off the channel and the fact that we had a trading range that was so, you know, so big, or so, I think I originally had it like that right there. Yep. And you can see, and there's two measured channels in there, ranges, this one and this one. And you know, you even had another chance to get short in here. These were iffy. This was really your first break. So you could have gone, you might have considered taking that short. I don't like that setup. It's really late in the day too. And you can see it didn't do much after that. But good trading day. You had to recognize it was a range, and you had to find these little channels. And you got to, really the only way to trade this is to find these little channels and to use the rules. And this one was probably the trickiest point, but by that point it was pretty obvious this was a trading range. So, but I hope you had a good trading day. That's what I saw today. Again, I didn't trade very long today, but I still had a good day today because it was some good movement. And if you were still around this afternoon to catch this, it didn't take much to make some big money here. Runners and all were good here. And this one, in fact, if you caught it, if you did take this trade up here that we talked about on this second entry short, counting from here, first entry, pull back, second entry. So that's kind of like a second entry right there. If you did take that, you would have had runners there too. I'll just be honest, I took this trade. I think it's risky, so I didn't mark it. looking back after the fact, I probably shouldn't have taken it, but I did. And this was a pretty nice trade for me right here. One was more obvious. This one was a lot riskier. Um, but anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back to do it again tomorrow. And again, like I said, the next week or so, um, my timing may be off. It may be late with these, maybe early, whatever, until our family kind of gets back to normal. And it may take even longer than that, but I'm figuring at least a week. And again, I appreciate all the notes, the emails, and the prayers and so forth. And if you'll continue to keep us in your thoughts and prayers, I would appreciate it. But I'm going to wrap it up. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.